Have you ever seen an old wooden cupboard, quite black with age and ornamented with carved photos and curious figures? Well, just as such a cupboard stood in a parlor and had been left to the family as a legacy by the great-grandmother. It was covered from top to bottom with carved roses and tulips. The most curious scrolls were drawn upon it, and out of them peeped little stage heads with antlers. In the middle of the cupboard door was the carved figure of a man most ridiculous to look at. He grinned at you, for no one could call it laughing. He had ghost legs, little horns on his head, and a long beard. The children in the room always called him Major General Field Sergeant Commander Billy Goldsley. It was certainly a very difficult name to pronounce, and there are very few who ever received such a title. But then it seemed wonderful how he came to be carved at all. Yet there he was, always looking at the table under the looking glass, where stood a very pretty little shepherdess, made of china. Her shoes were gilt and her dress had a red rose or ornament. She wore a hat and carried a crock. They were both gilded and looked very bright and pretty. Close by her side stood a little chimney-sweep, as black as coal, and also made of china. He was, however, quite as clean and neat as any other china figure. He only represented a black chimney-sweep, and the china workers might just as well have made him a prince. Close to them stood another figure, 3 times as large as they were, and also made of china. He was an old Chinaman who could nod his head and used to pretend that he was the grandfather of the Shepherdess, although they could not prove it. He, however, assumed authority over her, and therefore when Major General Field Sergeant Commander Billy Goldlegs asked for the little shepherdess to be his wife, he nodded his head to show that he consisted. "You will have a husband, who I really believe is made of mahogany. He will make you a lady of Major General Field Sergeant Commander Billy Goldlegs. He has the whole cupboard full of silver plate which he keeps locked up in secret drawers."
"I won't go into that cupboard. I've heard that he has 11 China wives there already."
"Then you shall be the 12th. Tonight, as soon as you hear rattling in the old cupboard, you shall be married, as true as I am a Chinaman." Then the little shepherdess cried and looked at her sweetheart, the China Chimney-Sweep.
"I must entreat you to go out with me into the dark wide world, for we cannot stay here."
"I will do whatever you wish. Let us go immediately. I think I shall be able to maintain you with my profession."
"If we were but safely down from the table, I shall not be happy till we are really out in the world."
Then he comforted her and showed her how to place her little foot in the carved edge and gilt leaf ornaments of the table. He brought his little ladder to help her, and so they contrived to reach the floor. But when they looked at the old cupboard, they saw it was all in an uproar. The carved stag pushed out their heads, raised their antlers, and twisted their necks. The Major General sprung up in the air and cried out to the old Chinaman, "They are running away! They are running away!" The two were rather frightened at this, so they jumped into the drawer of the window seat.
"I cannot bear it. I must get out of the drawer."
But when they reached the floor and cast their eyes back on the stairs, they saw the old Chinaman running down the stairs. But he crashed. Plump!
"I have thought of something. Let us go into the great potpourri jar which stands in the corner. There we can lie on rose leaves and lavender."
"No, that will never do, because I know that the Chinaman and the potpourri jar were lovers once, and there always remains behind a feeling of goodwill between those who have been so intimate as that. No, there is nothing left for us but to go out into the wide world."
"Have you really courage enough to go out into the wide world with me? Have you really thought how large it is and that we can never come back here again?"
"Yes, I have."
So he led her to the door of the stove. It was quite dark in there, but still she went with him through the stove and through the pipe where it was as dark as a pitch.
there was a beautiful star shining above the chimney.
It was a real star shining down upon them, as if it would show them the way. So they clambered and crept on, and a frightful step place it was. But the Chimney-Sweep helped her and supported her, till they got higher and higher. He showed her the best place on which to set her little china foot, so at last they reached the top of the chimney and sat themselves down, for they were very tired, as may be supposed. The sky with all its stars was over their heads, and below were the roofs of the town. They could see for a very long distance out into the wide world. And the poor little shepherdess leaned her head on her Chimney-Sweep's shoulder, and wept till she washed the guilt off her chest. The world was so different to what she was expecting.
This is too much. I cannot bear it. The world is too large. Oh, I wish I was safely back on the table again, under the looking glass. I shall never be happy till I'm safe again. Now I've followed you out into the wide world. You will take me back if you love me.
Then the Chimney-Sweep tried to reason with her, and spoke of the old Chinaman and the Major General of Field Sergeant Commander Billy Goatslegs. But she sobbed so bitterly and kissed her little Chimney-Sweep till he was obligated to do all she asked, foolish as it was. And so, with a great deal of trouble, they climbed down the chimney and then crept through the pipe and the stove, which were certainly not a very pleasant place. Then they stood in the dark firebox and listened behind the door to hear what was going on in the room. As it was all quiet, they peeped out. There lay the old Chinaman on the floor. He had fallen down from the table as he attempted to run after them, and was broken into 3 pieces. His back had severed entirely, and his head had rolled into a corner of the room. The Major General stood in his old place and appeared lost and true.
This is terrible. My poor grandfather is broken to pieces, and it's our fault. I shall never live after this.
He can be revived. Do not be so hasty. If they cement his back and put a good rivet in it, he will be as good as new, and be able to say as many disagreeable things to us as ever. As we have done no good, we might as well have remained here, instead of taking so much trouble.
I wish my grandfather was revived. Will the catch must, I wonder?
And she had her wish. The family had the Chinaman's back mended, and a strong rivet put through his neck. He looked good as new, but he could no longer move his head. You have become proud since you fought broke you to pieces. You have no reason to give yourself such airs. Am I to have her or not? The Chimney-Sweep and the little shepherd looked piteously at the old Chinaman, for they were afraid he might know, but he was not able. Besides, it was so tiresome to be always telling strangers he had a rivet in the back of his neck. And so the little China people remained together, and were glad of the grandfather's rivet, and continued to love each other till they were broken to pieces. I will do whatever you wish. You shut the fuck up.
As we have done no good, we might as well have remained here, instead of taking so much trouble. Now we are in the chimney. I point. He can't be remitted. Do not be so hasty. If they cement his back and put a good ribbon in it, for helvede. As we have done no good, for helvede, Peter! Bé. Bé.